Good morning, everybody. I'm here with the doc at Jeff's Pirates Cove in beautiful Ipan-Talofofo Guam, USA. What day is it? The 12th of January?
It's a beautiful day, whatever one it is.
2025. And what is this, number 42 we're doing today, Zion?
Yep, that's right.
Number 42 episode coming up today. And we're going to talk about a wide variety of things. And right now, there's a lot of talk about tourism. So we'll start with tourism. First of all, I feel all those employees at the Guam Visitors Bureau need to get out behind their desk, from behind their desk, and go walk around Tumon and survey it and see all the things that could be fixed. For one thing, you've got old hardware sticking out of the ground, dumpsters that could be painted, or all kinds of trash surrounding the dumpsters, like washing machines and stuff like that. You have a lot of trash on the beaches. I feel we should have an ocean view wherever you look in Tumon, even around the island. I think when you look out, people came here from the ocean, we should give it to them to see. I think the cameras mean a lot for security in Tumon, issuing tickets to speeders, catching people that are stealing purses and things like that. I think as far as other safety factors, water safety is really important. When people drown on Guam, or people get robbed, or people die, we look really bad. And this water, all these drownings could be prevented by a little bit of concerted effort. You take places like Gun Beach. That is like the most dangerous place to go swimming or snorkeling most of the year. Yet there's no signage down there. The people that are running the property don't even tell people not to go in there. And it's bad. Every time somebody drowns in an area, we should put up a sign that says, "Do not swim here. Somebody already drowned here." This is a controversy I had with GVB when I was making a sign for here. They said, "Oh, that's too harsh, Jeff." I said, "Well, dying is very harsh, very harsh." And recently, I told you we had some military here. They wanted to go in the ocean. I told them it's too rough here. They went down the street to First Beach and drowned because nobody told them. They have no idea of how bad it is. So right now, we should have a sign at Family Beach that says, "No swimming, hazardous currents. People have actually drowned here." As far as jet ski and public safety from Guam Fire Department, we should give them all the support they need. There should be lifeguards. There should be one right there at Gun Beach and other places. Now, paying for this stuff, do you know how much money the 911 telephone numbers collect every month? Do you know what happens to that money? No. That's what should be used to the cameras, jet skis, and ways to inform the public how to play it safe on Guam. What do you think about tourism, Doc?
I think you're a genius, Jeff, and I'm really shocked though that through the years people haven't acted on it. The new legislature that's coming into office apparently is taking the first 2 weeks off to learn how to use the number 2 pencil. So they need to be hearing this man speak, because this is truth. We are witnessing on a national level what happens when your government are idiots, right? When the mayor of a city decides to cut the fire department right before the Santa Ana winds start blowing flames throughout the Hollywood Hills, that's the consequence of bad governance. When your governor spends more money on his hair gel than he spends on firefighters having water to be able to fight fires, that's what happens when your government sucks. So right now, we have strong currents, big waves, and just beautiful beaches. Today is such a seductive day. Who wouldn't want to go in the water here? I mean, it's just gorgeous. The water is blue. The fish are swimming around. So yeah, people that are adventurous, people who are very confident in themselves may decide to swim a little too far offshore, not knowing that that big sucking sound is the undertow that's going to pull you under the island and you're going to die. And it's going to be a really sad day for your mom, your dad, your friends and family, and we're all going to feel terrible. and the senators are going to come down and put their condolences there. It's a big lie. Every year, people die of drowning. Really good people, and it's, I think, a matter of what Jeff's saying. Sometimes you just have to tell people what they need to hear. It's called tough love, and it's what we need to be doing when we invite people from around the world to come to our island to enjoy the beauty. But this is our home turf. We know the lay of the land, and if we're not going in the water, maybe they shouldn't either, but no one's really reminding them. And some of them are, some of our tourists are drunk, some of them are a little arrogant. But I think if we have some authority that's dressed in red lifeguard shorts and, they're buff, and they come down and say, hey, dude, don't go in the water, maybe it'll make some effect. At least we're trying, right? And so that when the NHK or re-rang folks come down to film the dead body, they'll at least see that the Guam people tried to warn the stupid tourists not to go in the water, or at least the military folks will say, hey, those guys on the civilian side, they care about their people and they're trying to take care of our people too, rather than it just be laissez-faire and I don't give a F, it's your problem. It's all our problems when people die drowning in our oceans. It's not a mistake. It's not oh gosh, next time we'll do better. It happens every year, and it just happened again last week. And these things are really preventable. Just like if you want to say that the fires in the States, again, we're supposed to stay local. Jeff has admonished me that we need to quit worrying about other people's problems. Let's worry about our local problems, and we're focusing on tourism because there is a safety factor. Remember when we had a whole spate of scuba diving accidents because some of the scuba operators were corrupt. They didn't care if people went down drunk, or they didn't really train them how to behave in the water. So when we have people doing dangerous stuff, and then we have tour operators who don't give a fuck, then people get hurt and our whole community suffers. And good places like Jeff Pirates Cove suffer too, because he does all the right things, but then the Joe Blow down the road at First Beach doesn't do his job. And again, that there is no private entity down there. That's the government. That's your government. That's our governor. That's our senators. That's our mayor. Unfortunately, I know all these people care a little bit, but Sunday morning they're still sleeping. We're up. We're the best damn show on Sunday morning here on Guam, and we're going to tell you the truth. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing good, and responsive. That's what we're missing here in Guam. I've been here 62 years.
I think so.
Since 1960.
I noticed. Yeah.
And I have watched this government just get worse. And I have watched the people keep voting for these guys. I mean, I just see new faces, or not new faces, old faces coming up to try to run for governor or try to lead us. Well, they're not leaders because we haven't gone anywhere. They've all had a chance. Every one of these guys has been in politics, senator, governor, you name it. And all they really did was end up with more for themselves. More property in California, more money in the bank, more for themselves and all their buddies. But us people, us mortals, us humans, taxpayers, citizens, we're just victim of these guys. And we don't have any choices. This is a big problem that me and Doc are going to be trying to address as we go here, because we need more people to run. We need more choices.
And I think our tourists appreciate it too, because they're kind of interested in what our local culture is all about. They probably notice that, there's a lot of politicians running for office. Every 2 years, they see all these signs all over the place. So they figure that this is a very active democracy where people get to run for office and, theoretically help to make the island better. But they know in their places, there can be corruption, and there are people who don't do a good job. In fact, who become a little greedy and try to take the whole thing for themselves and then declare martial law. And then in Korea, they all have this huge party in the streets where they say, I'm going to impeach you, or I'm going to, kick you out of office. And I think that process is still going on there in South Korea. But it was really interesting because, a lot of people think Asians are kind of quiet and they don't make a whole lot of noise, but they care about their community. They care about how clean it is. They care about, where the government's money goes. So I think they're not going to be offended if we do the same thing. And they're certainly not going to do it for us. So they'll certainly make fun of us if we do a terrible job. And then, oh, by the way, if one of our stupid criminals decides to go shoot one of their Korean guys down in Tumon next to Gun Beach because there were no lights and there's no cameras and there's no police officers patrolling the streets. Well, it's on the front page of the newspaper down in Korea, and it doesn't do good for our tourism. Or when a bunch of them go back to Japan on an airplane full of diarrhea, it makes the front page of the Japan newspaper. So that was what happened last year in 2024. That was a great bad example of GVB in action, or just our whole government, because GVB takes a lot of money, and apparently they have like $50 million to blow on something. I'm hoping, because I'm going to be asking for some of it. I want to make a withdrawal to help the community. But GVB does need to get out from behind the desk. The workers in GVB need to go out in the streets and speak the language of our tourists and our people and start getting things moving. I think you made a point a couple of shows ago, back in the early days, about we needing to get people who speak Korean and Japanese, maybe having some posts down in Tumon where, in case the tourist, is confused, or maybe, again, just needing some help, a friendly face, and in their own language, get some directions on what to do. I thought that was a brilliant idea, which still no one's followed. I mean, that's the thing. That was a great line.
I mean, people are just collecting a paycheck. They don't have to do anything.
It's not okay.
That money comes from the hotel tax,
tourist attraction fund, 11%.
It should be used for making tourists grow and repeat business. That's the big thing. And when people like it here and come back, they tell their friends. That's what we need. People that come here now, I don't know how good an experience they have when they run into homeless and everything is flooded from the lack of drainage, or, there's no help, even like they crossing the street down there, with the intersection, right?
Yeah.
At DFS.
Yeah, that's
half the time there's nobody there.
Would be great if somebody was there in the middle. I think you had this vision of a circle.
Yes. The Bobby, like England, the guys
waving at people,
there,
dancing, making it a better experience to go through a dangerous intersection and stopping dingbat drivers who are on their phones or not paying attention from hitting a little kid. And we need to do better. And the governor has bragged about her fiscal responsibility or whatever. We have a budget surplus, supposedly. We have all these great things in numbers, right? But this is not a game. This is not just about numbers. This is about people. And Jeff's been talking about how to impact on the tourists that do come here so that there will be repeat business. I mean, that was your buzzword.
It's true that, I get a lot of repeat business here. Reason is I spent 45 years trying to make my place and Guam a rememberable, great experience, and like Guam. That's my whole thing.
Yes.
I bought 230,000 bandanas and gave them away. That cost me over $250,000.
That's amazing.
Personally, I want GVB to reimburse me for all that. How do you like that?
I would love them to do
that.
Yeah,
that would be good. Anyways, they say Guam when they go back to Kentucky, or they go to Osaka, or they go to Taiwan. Guam is advertised. And the people say, yeah, I got that from that man, that pirate Jeff, and I'm very happy to have it because during COVID, I could wear a mask, and when I decided to rob banks, I could use it.
Oh, well.
And,
or give to charity.
Before, all men had a handkerchief. You know that?
To blow their nose or wipe
Not
their
only that, it was to give them lady if they were crying.
Oh, that too.
Many different things, right?
Sure.
But now things are different. But everybody that has a Pirates Cove bandana has something.
So you're going to take that one off your head?
Well, this one is different. This one is kind of tied in three places.
Shifted,
Yeah, I always have a bandana on me. Yeah, it's safer.
GQ right there.
So tourism, really, I was reading the other day, people say we're lacking a local experience in tourism. We're lacking this cultural experience. Well, all of that stuff, it's brought up and then it's not taken care of, then it goes away, and every time there's a change of politicians, the agenda goes away, and it's not really a priority. If GVB gets out there and shows some hospitality and talks about Guam and recommends private places that are proven to be successful for the tourists to go to, that would be the best. And I have watched the Guam Greyhound just go down the tubes, Underwater World, GameWorks. All these things were attractions for tourists and locals, everybody.
Yeah.
And when they were going down, what did the government do? They just watched them fail. The tax went away for the government. The employees went away, so the government couldn't get tax out of them.
Yeah.
They just failed. And our government should be proactive and go in, especially a business that's been in business a long period of time. If they start failing, figure out why. If it's a matter of having a tax waiver for a while, do it. If they need grants, do it. But don't give them a tax later on on the money you gave them, that like happened to me, because I already spent the money and now I got to pay tax on it.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No.
That government came free from Biden and Bush. No, Bush wasn't.
Trump. It was
Trump.
actually
It was
Mr. Trump started
Yeah,
all this.
Man, right? Anyways,
He's
we
back.
have to start
He's
looking
back.
at things realistically, how they really work. Clean up the junk cars. That would help tourism. Get rid of the stray dogs. That would help tourism. Close down those ugly, well, not, they're already closed. Burn them down, blow them up, do something with the Marriott and the Verona and all these eyesores in Tumon and around the island. Tell people, look, you either got to get rid of this building, you own it, it's got rats infested, and people have to look at it. You know, we want it down, or we're going to condemn it. You know, condemn it. That's a good reason to condemn things, not private people's property for the hospital. Condemn things that are a hazard to the public.
That's a great point. You know, the government is so quick to do some dumb things on the back road to Anderson, ruin people's lives. No one asked them to do this. This was a figment of somebody's imagination. And you're seeing the full force of government action. Suddenly, the governor's claiming victory because she's figured out to put $100 million into power and water infrastructure to the people of Manilao, which is a wonderful thing, particularly for those people in Manilao. But why didn't she do this 6 years ago? She had Mr. Trump gave her the money to spell relief for those folks. She's waited till the last minute to do it, and her only reason to do it apparently is so she can build her hospital there. What about the quality of life for all those people in Fadian? And then you talk about folks in Dedido and down in Molesu on Chamorro Land Trust land. They're not getting any of that $90 million infrastructure. So why are they going to celebrate? There's money in the Bank of Guam, gaining interest as we speak, that hasn't helped the people of Guam. And we're supposed to celebrate right now because she's finally going to do it to build her hospital in the middle of nowhere where nobody wants it. Yet then down in Tumon, as Jeff is pointing out, there are properties there, probably not paying their taxes, that should be condemned. They should have been condemned a long, long time ago. There should have been action by our governor, our government on those owners to prevent the eyesore that it has become. And the dangerous, those are drug dens. Those are places where people go to die. Those are places that harbor the pickpockets that are terrorizing Tumon. They don't do any good. And yet the governor has ignored her responsibility to condemn those properties since day one that she got into office. Yet then she's going to attack Dr. Joel Joseph, you know, a humble veterinarian on the back road to Anderson, and steal his land. He didn't want to sell it to you. You didn't ask him. You demanded it of him. How rude. And all this in the name of what? Your legacy project that, again, nobody asked you. If you go around the island, their first priority wasn't to build a 100-acre medical complex in the middle of nowhere. It was to rebuild GMH, or at least clean it up today. Jeff, I'm sorry, we're delving now into healthcare, which should be a source of tourism.
Talk about the hospital, because I saw today where one of the big problems is the air conditioning and the roofing leaking. The problem is we're depending on the government to fix it. The government should go to Black Construction, talk to Harry or talk to somebody over there who knows the business, hire them, make them come fix it now. Don't just pass it around to this one or the responsibility to that one or the blame or whatever. Take that $100 million, fix the cracks in the roof, fix the maternity department, make people over there feel that something positive is happening, not just have people, the same persons making the same wrong decisions and anywhere. Privatize it. Privatize everything in the government. That's the only answer.
I think if you've only been here for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, you're still a tourist. And I think the person who was pointing out that the roof is leaking in the hospital was our new pathologist, the guy who was running the lab. So how are you going to run a sterile lab, take care of sick patients in the hospital, if the dude has to deal with buckets and blankets all over the ground from a leaking roof that's been leaking for the last 6 years? You know, so he brings it up publicly. He's probably going to get hammered for it on Monday because, hey, you're not supposed to talk about problems when you've only been around for six weeks or whatever the heck it is. But he's just telling the truth. Hospitals aren't supposed to be this dirty. The Guam Memorial Hospital got an F from Sabrina Salas, the incoming healthcare chair, and she was in tears. And, you know, that's the thing. I hate to break it to you, Sabrina, but you should have known this already. You've been running for office for the last couple of years. You knew the hospital was bad, but I'm sorry you got emotionally affected by the lack of cleanliness at GMH. Let's make it up to you. Come down to Jeff's Pirates Cove. Let me show you a clean institution, a place where people can come and actually get well, because it's so beautiful here. And the ocean breeze is great. It's great for people with asthma or pneumonia, as opposed to a mold-infested, dirty, humid hospital where the HVAC system apparently still doesn't work after you pumped $50 million of general fund money into it. The governor has been hoarding the federal funds in her bank instead of helping GMH. She puts Lillian Posadas to tears because Lillian keeps begging for it so she can pay for medicine. But the governor says, no, I'm going to build infrastructure in Manila, and that'll prove that I'm committed to the people of Guam. It's a big, fat lie. You're supposed to run GMH now. If Jeff said that, I'm going to build a better Jeff's Pirates Cove in 10 years, just wait. And I won't clean the current one. It'll look like shit. That's the equivalent of what GMH is right now. It's putting people to tears. It's making the doctors who've only been here for a couple of weeks go, what is this piss hole place? You know, it's filthy. It's dirty, Governor. What the hell are you doing? This is not funny. This is the way government fails. And you're seeing it in, you know, the mayor of LA is getting excoriated because of her incompetence. She deserves every bit of that pain and humiliation and the legacy that she's going to have now of being a shitty governor or mayor. And you have that same, I guess, inevitability if you're going to continue down this path where you let GMH suck while you fantasize about a medical complex in Manila and celebrate spending $100 million in sewer and water and power that you should have spent 6 years ago. Damn it.
People that are living here now that are subject to the problems that are being created by not being aggressive at GMH, they don't know what to do. I mean, their relatives are sick. They can't afford to go to Hawaii, and people's insurance isn't covered in the Philippines all the time. I mean, we need to have quality health care here.
We are sending patients with pneumonia, cancer, and heart care to a third world country, which is on the verge of anarchy. You got the vice president and the president threatening to assassinate each other. That's where we're sending our people. Governor, is this what you went to school for? Is that what you got a master's of public health for? Is so that you can create a healthcare system in America that relies on a third world country's hospital system in order to take care of your people? And right now, your public health system is blabbering about diarrhea on cruise ships and banana ketchup from the Philippines having potassium chloride in it. Meanwhile, we have epidemic pneumonia in the clinics on Guam. The emergency rooms in both hospitals, GRMC and GMH, are full of people who are short of breath. Little children are missing school because they're choking on their own breath. And your public health system is playing with their belly button. They're pulling dirt out of their belly button. They don't know up from down. They're not sure if there's anything going on because guess what, Governor? They're not checking. They don't even show up to work. They've barely worked this past week. They've taken so many freaking days off, and you don't notice because you don't lead by walking around. You lead by looking at people around you and asking, so what's going on? And then Lillian says, oh, yeah, everything's fine. How fine can it be if you got an F? And apparently you've got an F for 6 years. What F doesn't stand for fine. It stands for fucked up.
Failure.
Okay, that too. That's another. What does snafu stand for?
Snafu?
Snafu. Situation normal.
Snagglepuss? I don't know what a snafu is.
Okay, that's okay. It's a military term. And somebody out there, maybe Mr. Dave Duenas, knows what snafu stands for. But Sorry, my blood pressure's up. I haven't had coffee this morning.
Okay. So what are we going to do about all this, Doc? We got to figure this out. I mean, new leaders, that's really going to be the answer. Not
Real
the
real
same
leaders.
ones.
Real
Well,
leaders.
yeah, people that actually lead and
Yeah.
people that think outside the box. And the status quo, what's going on now? Let's just analyze the typical GovGuam employee, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is their job?
To pick up a paycheck every 2
Okay,
weeks.
that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
To pick up a paycheck, to make sure the political friends and the governor and all that are happy.
ITC
right?
building. This is their way.
To
Yeah.
bend over. You know, you've heard of bend over.
Yeah,
He lives
yeah.
in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah.
And do everything it takes to keep their job till they retire, and then get 80% of their paycheck
Yeah.
that they did nothing for in many circumstances. You know, most of them. I mean, there are hardworking people in the
Yes,
right?
I was going to say because I was
And, you
getting
know,
depressed. Yeah.
My whole privatization scheme means to take the people within the government of Guam and place them in a pride situation where they can do a good job and be proud of their work and make people well and make
Yes.
the island healthy. How many, 13,000 employees, how many do we actually need?
I got that answer, and actually, it was brought to us by COVID-19 because COVID-19 forced the governor to decide. So the government of Guam, who was essential and who was non-essential, and she let the non-essentials stay home and watch Netflix and eat popcorn all day, and the essential people got paid more to just go to work. But of course, it was a pandemic, and they could have all died because they were putting themselves in the front line of law enforcement, healthcare, you know, to some degree, education, because education was being used as a distribution center for food and other things. I mean, there were people in the government, including in the ports and all these different other functions of government, where we realized we really needed them to show up every day and preferably all day long. And then there were a lot of people, more than half the government. I'm going to say 60% of the government stayed home during the pandemic, and we didn't notice, right? In fact, things got better. The only thing that got worse is that the traffic on the streets got bad for a little while. Then the governor shut the streets down. She shut the beaches down. And then became immediately obvious those non-essentials not going to work didn't matter. Nothing got broken. Nothing, you know, life was better when the non-essential GovGuam employees stayed home. It wasn't good that they were getting paid to do nothing, because that's bad for my morale. But it was really nice to work with people who knew their job was important and they were competent. And those were the government of Guam employees, the 40% of them that are essential to making our community function in a state of emergency. And what I always remember you bringing up is you think we actually need more inspectors. There are certain places where we don't have enough government of Guam.
Public safety.
Public safety.
Safety inspectors that ensure our restaurants are clean and sanitary for us to eat in and our tourists.
Yeah.
I mean, they cut out the health inspectors 20 or 30 years ago to save money. And now look, it's kicking our butt because you got people getting sick in restaurants and employees who don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And the essentials are needed. And I think you're really shooting right on this thing that 40% is about what you need. 60%
Stay
are
home.
just, talking to each other and trying to get their,
Work excuse.
their retirement, just last, be bored to death for their 20, 30,
It's a waste of human
they
life.
last, you know. And only on Guam, well, I'm sure there's places in the States, but here it's worse than anywhere. It's all like politics and family and who you're connected to and what business you have that can prosper. Procurement, that's another huge episode that stops everything from getting done here. And everything we do is wrong. I mean, but we get by doing it, it's like this machine that just doesn't work right, but it still continues to continue, but half waste, maybe more. It's terrible. So what are we going to do?
Well, that's the thing is, as you said, what is the purpose of a non-essential government of Guam employee, that 60% that we just identified? It's really just to pick up a paycheck, but also the other half of it is to kiss a politician's ass, right? And I'm going to look at you, Josh. You're the one responsible for bringing in a boatload of people at GMH that we've told you we don't need. And they bring down the payroll at GMH. There's at least 300 of them now, maybe 350, because in the last election, you guys got desperate to bring Ginger in, and so you loaded it with a bunch of people who said they voted for Ginger. And they still haven't been fired or been terminated for tardiness or whatever crap. I mean, they're still taking up space on the parking lot, in the parking lot on Monday mornings, and they're never there on Sunday mornings like right now. The point is, if you are going to poison GMH with your political patronage positions, and you're going to suck down the mission of this critical hospital function, medical function, right, which is supposed to be autonomous from Adelup, if you're going to do that, you'll do it anywhere. You'll do it in every single freaking government of Guam department that you can get your hands in. Yeah. But for some reason, these people want to work at GMH, maybe because of the prestige, maybe because the food's better at the cafeteria. I have no idea why these leeches want to be working at GMH when they know we don't need them, right? So they can't have any pride. They can't be doing it for love. They're doing it because they want a paycheck that says GMH on it.
Yeah.
And so that being said, that's a crime in itself. And, you know, we try not to allege things that we can't prove, but that's corruption, right? That's government corruption. There's no other word for it. And it may happen in other places in the States, but we're supposed to stay local. And this crime, this government corruption, it kills us. It absolutely kills our people. It destroys our soul. It destroys our faith in you, Josh, as the Lieutenant Governor of Guam. It destroys our faith in Lou Leon Guerrero when she tells us she's doing everything for the people of Guam. She, you know, don't cry for me, Argentina. You're a Vita Peron, and you're going to just do this for your people. That's a big fat lie when you hire 350 people to work in Japan that don't belong there, man. And they hurt us. They prevent us from being able to stand on our own feet and not have to beg for a subsidy because payroll is your biggest priority. And I'm sorry to keep spitting at you, but you know, I'm pissed off because this is the same broken record. Even, I mean, this is like the 44th episode. Jeff's been talking about ways to improve tourism on Guam since episode 1. And sometimes he gets listened to, like with the stray dogs and the what do you call it, the car thing, the abandoned car thing. I mean, we see there's some traction for a little while, but it's a continuous thing. We can't just do it for 1 or 2 days, you know, make a show of it just to please Jeff. I mean, it's something that needs to be ingrained and sustained. We can't keep that up if we keep shoving people into GMH's payroll because somebody has to pay those bastards. We need to run this government better than LA ran its fire response system. You don't terminate the the firefighting personnel in the middle of a fire season, which apparently in California is all year long, just so you can take care of the homeless who don't want you to take care of them anyway. I mean, it's just obvious that all these arguments about humanitarianism, all this crap about, you know, I'm doing this for the people, I'm taking care of the poor. It's a big fat lie. In fact, maybe if we have a little more time in this episode, we'll bring up how big the lie is. But for now, let's just dwell on the fact that the hospital got an F this week, right? And apparently that means I don't give a fuck. According to all the people who work for the governor, it's always been like that. Really? It's not always been like that. As recently as 7 years ago, it got Joint Commission accreditation. So some people from the outside said, your hospital's okay. And that's like getting public health clearance saying you've got an A, right? It's just an opinion, but it's better than your opinion. Your opinion, Governor, is that it's okay for GMH to have an F for 6 years while you fantasize about a hospital in Manila. That's not okay. So you get an F.
And we can't get any A's now because there's no monthly health inspections to qualify people to have an A. I've got an A that I've had in there for I don't know how many years.
Well, and it's not like public health isn't aware that there's a diarrhea epidemic going on called norovirus, which no one can prove is here because no one's testing, right? Again, I don't want to get overly passionate about how crappy public health is also because I'm dwelling on GMH this week. But yeah, it goes both ways. If you suck at public health and you suck at GMH, that's a total fuck up failure. And I'm using more bad words this week just because I'm tired of being nice about this, right? If the new healthcare chair, Sabrina Salas, on her first day in office, goes ahead and launches an F-bomb, then I'll do it too. If that's what it's going to take to shake up this government and make it move by being less nice, right? If we're being nice and we're getting run over, then let's not be nice. And at least we get it out of our system, right? You want us to be nice? Do your damn job.
Absolutely. And actually, we need to have somebody that is qualified to run the hospital. This is privatization. I mean, why don't you just ask Caesar Cyanide or ask one of these places? Here, you can have everything on Guam. You can have GMH. We'll give you all the money that we're wasting doing nothing. We'll give you everything, but just turn it away from the government of Guam, because traditionally, our government cannot do anything right. I don't care what it is. Show me one department that is really, really efficient and people are happy about. It isn't the water. I can guarantee you that. How many employees over there? How many overpaid? How many raises in all the utilities? And the utilities are terrible. I mean, the power still fluctuating, still outages. The water still has rust in it. And we're looking at big projects for the water, this and that. But really, we're more concerned in our house to have clean water coming out of the tap at a reasonable price. I mean, the water is getting more and more. Every time they add on, oh, we're going to build this or build that, they make an increase in your water cost.
Right.
That isn't helping the water at your house. That's just so the politicians can shave and find some benefit out of all these huge $1 bids, you know, finding the right person to do it that'll kick back, finding the way to the pare system of, hey, we take care of each other. We don't care about the people. We are the people because we're the government. Very elite, very, very bad.
It's colonial. It's everything that Chamorro Nation says they were against. But instead of worrying about the white man that's somewhere out there, that boogeyman white man in Washington, why don't you worry about the brown men and women who are enslaving you? You know, they've taken away your pride. They've taken away your soul. They take away your children, because that hospital kills Chamorro babies, Chamorro and Chuki's babies, you know, and you don't even put up a fight. You know, you roll over and go, give me COLA, you know, give me another 22% Gov Guam pay raise and I'll take it up the ass. You know, that's the thing. You have no pride if you don't recognize that your governor and your platoon governor has lied to you. You voted them back in. This is their second term. So you've seen this before. This is your fault, man. And, you know, suck it up, buddy. It's Sunday morning. Go to church, go to confession, and figure out how to do it better on Monday morning. First thing to do is find a real job. You know, while we're, you know, this is a very unique time. It turns everything upside down. We have a ton of money to fix the problems we have. And the governor wants to go borrow $1 billion from somebody, probably DOD, to build her hospital in Manilao. Why doesn't she borrow $1 billion to put all the water and power pipes, clean them out so there's no rust in it, right?
Highways.
Replace the infrastructure that's all been broken since the 50s.
Sidewalks.
Yeah, instead she's putting all her political capital on building a hospital complex in Manilao instead of addressing the fact that we have dirty water in the streets of Guam. We have broken streets throughout the island. But, you know, that's her problem. She said she was a hospital expert, so good luck to you. And this whole idea that when we build the new hospital, suddenly magically everything's going to run better. It's not going to be dirty like the current GMH. It's not going to have not enough doctors and nurses. The payroll won't be crazy big. That's an idiotic way of thinking. That's called magical thinking. If you're not going to listen to Jeff and privatize the management of it now. I mean, what's stopping the governor of Guam from having a private management group move into GMH tomorrow morning and rectify all the problems that are going on now? What is the sane reason that you don't do it? Why didn't you do it 6 years ago? I mean, this whole crazy debate is going to become public because apparently Jesse Lujan is going to, again, listen to Jeff. Jeff's totally on spot. There's going to be legislation introduced very shortly to call for mandate that GMH have private management group. So from your lips to his ears,
that sounds good.
Well, and he's working with Simon Sanchez and apparently a bunch of other people. So this, and Sean Gumatauto, I guess I misspeak. I think Sean might be taking the lead, and he's the head of the Republican Party. So there's a very good chance that the governor's going to have on her desk a bill passed by the legislature to privatize the management of GMH right now. That was my.
She'll be out looking for one of her buddies.
Sure.
You know, to privatize it for her so she can still benefit in every way. The only thing that's really going to change our government, take away all the money. You know, in the States, these governments run out of money. They lay people off. They deal with it. Here, because we're the tip of the spear, because of our position, because of our heritage, we are just delivered money. And the worst is we get 10% of all our employees' wages and give it to the government of Guam to spend. 10%. That's tremendous money. And what do they do with the money from the employees? They use it to make things inefficient. There's no insurance, health insurance for the employees. There's no benefit coming back to them from their tax money when everything runs wrong, yet it still runs.
Yeah.
And all we have is more people, hire more people. Why? We now let's use the money on the product. What? How much is the percentage of payroll spent in the government budget?
Probably about 70%.
No, they say 80 or 90.
Okay, it's gone up.
80 or 90% of your tax dollar is to pay for all those people to do whatever they want to do. Not what they should be doing to make the island better, to be doing what they can get away with till they retire.
Yeah. No better example than the Guam Memorial Hospital, where you would think that would be the last place that the government of Guam would mess around with people's lives. By doing what you do, you really expose your true priority. Your priority is not to serve the people, but to serve yourself. You know, so it goes back around. You get mad because we're using bad words or we're criticizing you in such a harsh way. You're corrupt. You are at your very heart corrupt. You're not about serving people, yet you say you are. You say you're a public servant. You're lying.
How can they get away with it? There's too many corrupt people. Everybody has become corrupt. That's the problem.
So it's cultural.
It's bred.
It's societal. It becomes something that, you know, we look at and we think that that's normal. But, you know, the emperor has no clothes. A little child will come up to you and go, this is not right. You know, a little kindergarten kid will come up and say, this is corrupt. So, you know, your own children look at you in disgust and say that you're lying, right? You're letting the altar boys get raped. You're allowing domestic violence to perpetuate in your village. You know, you explain it away through some magical thinking, right? People get hurt. This is not a game. This is not just us political bantering. We're telling you the truth, and you know it's the truth. It took a long time for the truth about the corruption in the Roman Catholic Church here on Guam to come out, but now no one denies it. Even the church accepts the fact that they failed, right? If the church can accept the failure, if the Pope can accept his failure, why can't you? You're not that good.
She doesn't have to.
Yes, she does. You really do.
I mean,
you really do.
How are the people going to make it happen?
By just opening their mouths. Because the beauty of where we are, right? Sunday morning, Jeff's Pirates Cove, the barbecue is blowing in the breeze. This is a free country, right? And we get to elect our next governor, and we get to elect our next senators, and we get to badger them the whole damn time that they're in office, because they're our what? Servants. You're our public servants. You're not our king. You're not our queen. You know, we don't have to kiss your ass. You have to kiss our ass.
So the next election is in 2026. Okay?
It won't come soon enough.
And me and the doc, we really want things to change. And we feel that the only way things are going to change is if we can find candidates
like you
to run outside of the parties. Because the Democrat, the Republicans are not going to change anything. There's nothing new going to happen under that whole trip that's going on. Because even after one loses to the other, they still continue to coalition, do things they want to do, corrupt. And that's the way it is. So independent, Doc, you want to run as an independent?
I'm already independent. No one owns me. And, you know, that's why I hang out with you.
I'm independent. And
I see you.
Dream is to,
I gravitate to folks like you who, you know, take care of their own shit, right? I don't have to carry your backpack. You know, we can help each other,
well, this
but
is
we're
for
independent.
everybody on Guam. And, you know, there's so many people out there that are super smart. And there's so many people that have relocated, they would come back here if they could see any hope in making this island what it should be.
Yeah.
Good for everybody, not just the elite government employee, for everybody, for the military, for the tourists, for the children, for the poor sick people. Everybody needs to have good government to survive.
Yeah.
And we're not making it happen.
And government exists because we're willing to give up some of our money, some of our freedoms, some of our say, so that somebody who we trust is going to do things in our best interest. And let's face it, it's tough to be the governor. It's tough to be a senator or a mayor. You have to do things for a lot of people, and it is a matter of juggling priorities. And very often you have to make, an educated guess. You have to stand your ground. There's nothing easy about being a leader. So we're not criticizing you for being willing to do it. What we're criticizing you about is your corruption, your willingness to take more than you give, and then your demand that we somehow look the other way and say it's okay. That ain't going to happen, man. It's not okay. Don't be corrupt. Do your job or get out of the way. That's the simple thing. Is there are other people, maybe those Marines and their dependents will run for office. How'd you like that? Right? They're Americans. Yeah, they're going to be 5,000 of them. They're going to be able to swing some votes. The thing is, your biggest fear is that you're going to lose control of your own island or your little kingdom, because you don't own the whole island. There's a lot of people here.
The island anyways.
Yeah.
It's only good for you.
This is your last chance, right? This is your last chance to actually show that you deserve to run this island. Because right now you deserve to go into receivership. You're like Puerto Rico. The Puerto Ricans have really ruined it for themselves. And there's a lot of really smart Puerto Ricans who all live in New York, right? There are a lot of really smart people from Puerto Rico, from that corrupt territory, but they live somewhere else. Some of them live on Guam. So again, this is your last chance. You've messed this up so badly, despite the fact that you have a ton of money, ton of support, and yet somehow you still managed to let the corruption ruin it. You could have been better. That's your problem.
This could be the finest place to live.
It will be
in the world.
It will be. It will be. Jeff's bandana, or get a new one, because he's got a whole slew of colorful ones over there in the gift shop, and it's a new year, right? This is going to be a blast.
2025 now. Andrea, we got anybody asking questions or any answers we should be giving? Is Sean out there and all our normal regulars?
Well, yeah, you do have a lot of people outside. Some of the bikers have started to roll up. I've seen a few of them starting to come in, so this may be maybe their first stop on their way to bike fest. And you had a lot of people, the regulars in the comments, Rico, Dave, I believe.
Rico and Dave, that's our regulars, yeah. Those guys are great.
And you guys were speaking, and Zion was in here. We're doing the secondary view, but we went around Pirates Cove, the view of the sea, the ocean, the sign.
Oh, you were doing that?
Yes, and then gift shop, as well as just running through the entire place. Got some of the staff to say hello. Wow. And wait. Well, they just wait.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're getting sophisticated.
More color.
Yes, and so we're doing the secondary view of our studio. So if you wave, you can look over here and wave.
Should have made your bed, Jeff.
Yes, Jeff.
Well, you know, this bed is, for special guests and whatever, but
Oh my God.
this was a place where I had a studio for years.
Yeah.
And I did a show with Corey, and
Oh.
it was called The Storyteller.
Oh wow.
And I did that for 1 year, and it was on TV for a year, and it was really popular, and it kind of pushed me up quite a bit.
So this has been a studio for a long time.
Yeah,
A
this
television
was designed.
studio and a living studio. This is going to one day be a historic site. There are going to be pilgrimages from around the world to come here and say, Jeff did his TV show and podcast from this bedroom.
Very cool.
Yeah. Like, well, you know, actually, after you serve as governor, as an independent governor of Guam for a couple of years, this will become a national historic site. Yeah.
Very good, Doc. Let's see what happens in my life.
Yeah.
Just keep me going.
Yes, I will do our best. In fact, if I don't know how much time we have, but I wanted to end on a good news about healthcare, just because, you know, we talk sometimes a lot of smack, rightfully so, about failing infrastructure in our hospitals, but the people are here. In fact, I was bragging to Jeff, we probably now have 4 lung specialists on island that can really take care of our people through this period of pneumonia. We have a lot of lung disease this season, this winter season. It's the same as what's going on stateside, but they have their cold weather and now smoke inhalation in LA to deal with. And then in China, they're really struggling with infectious disease, which they're calling meta pneumonia. Looks like it's affecting a lot of kids, but we're not sure that it's actually killing a lot of people, which we hope it's not. But on Guam, the clinics are full of coughing and shortness of breath. And I'm lucky to be able to refer to folks like Dr. Jolene Uggan, Dr. Augustin over at the FHP clinic. You're right, his doc. And then a couple of, I just heard that there were 2 new pulmonologists over at the GRMC. I'm sorry, I don't know their names. And I believe there might even be one extra one over at GMH now. So for some reason, we do have still shortages of many other specialists, but we are blessed at this moment in time with some excellent lung doctors who are bringing new lung therapy to Guam, which we do need. I mean, even though we have great fresh air, we have a lot of veterans who were exposed to burn pits when they were in the service, and that's turning out to be a really significant problem as they get older. And so not everybody who is a veteran will qualify, but if you were exposed to burn pits during your service time, you should get seen by a lung doctor, and you can call me to get coordinated. But there's just a lot of other things that people have been exposed to over time that may have hurt their lung, and so they should be checked. The number one thing, of course, is smoking. So people need to quit smoking, but they also need to get their lungs taken care of.
You know, I figured out my problem, Doc.
Great.
I started smoking cigarettes with my cousins in Massachusetts when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
I smoked till I was 65 cigarettes.
Wow.
I started smoking marijuana in 1967 when I was 19 years old.
You're on Guam.
That was Hawaii.
Oh, was it in Hawaii?
But I mean, I was on Guam, but there wasn't any marijuana on Guam.
Okay, so you learned
when
about.
I was surfing at the bay, they had guys trying to give us LSD. But there was no marijuana smoked in 1967. But when I went to Hawaii and went together with all my Guamanian buddies,
yeah,
everybody was smoking weed.
Well, at the outrigger.
And that's when I started.
Yeah.
So over 100 years of smoking
Yeah.
between cigarettes and marijuana has put me in this lung situation I'm in. Emphysema, CVOP.
Yeah, COPD.
It's
Yeah.
incurable, I read. But I quit smoking marijuana. Now I'm limited myself to itchy, 1 joint a day and no more.
Itchy. Okay. Well, you've made that revelation, but I hope you're wrong. I think there are people that are going to get a benefit from some of the new.
No,
medicines.
I'm getting better, you know, as you have to just stop what
Yes.
you're doing that's bad. I mean, you know, the smoking, anything you put in your lungs that smoke is bad. I don't care what it is.
Yeah. And couldn't you imagine if you had been doing that in a place where you were stuck in your car on the freeway and you're inhaling it and the traffic's bad and it's cold. And so when you breathe the air, it actually hurts to even breathe cold air. And are stuck inside buildings. They have in stateside sick building syndrome because people stay inside buildings that don't have good circulation. Here, you're in the perfect setting for somebody who has lung disease. You have a natural air conditioner off of the ocean that I think actually is therapeutic. So yeah, I as much as we have trouble here on Guam, we also have huge advantages and things to be thankful for. We should never, I guess, disrespect our friends back home in this on stateside who are dealing with their own struggles because they're doing it heroically. But we do, I think, need to celebrate what we have. And today, a great time to do that would be now, I guess, since the motorcycle guys are rolling up and they're a lot of fun. But I think the big group is going to be rolling around after lunchtime. So folks, you still have time to get your clothes on. I think the only thing required, you might not need to wear shoes, but you need to have a shirt to have service. Is it no shoes, no shirt, no service at Jeff's? Or
I don't know.
You're barely wearing any shoes. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So you don't have
Jory.
Yeah,
they
you have to wear shorts.
Outside. I mean, yeah, you do have to wear shorts.
They can be short shorts though. I mean, Jeff has some nice mini skirts for the ladies. So you don't really have to wear shorts. You can come down here and get a sarong. Yeah, just come as you are.
So I want to make sure that we credit a couple of the news sources that will probably put these images and articles in as well.
Oh.
From Pundit News to even KUAM.
No kidding.
Yeah, so we're going to put the article
Jeff!
other ways.
You're making connections.
Jeff
in
is an
Nafa
official news station.
No kidding. When did that happen? Whoa.
4K resolution on YouTube and everywhere.
Hi, Pandit.
Yeah.
Hi, KUAM.
Thanks, Troy.
Yeah. Hey, Jason.
So we know credit the right people, and then we'll be back again next week.
I guess so.
Absolutely. We'll have a whole new topic, maybe, or we'll find some.
Yeah. I'm sure the government will do something dumb between now and then.
Yeah.
And everyone can come down for the NFL
yeah.
wild card today, Monday, and then Tuesday is.
Yes, we have put in the football games now on our TVs with Jazz, and should be able to watch all the games here.
Well, wait. So Minnesota's playing LA, I think on Tuesday, or is it? Are they the Monday night game? So Tuesday. But because that's
Mark's department.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about Minnesota versus LA because I actually like LA, but Minnesota is where I went to school, and they're both really great, exciting teams. But they're also supposed to do it in the middle of the fire, So so everything about this game is really epic, and it's going to be, I think, a wonderful game to watch, especially if the fire is going on all around it. That'll be like a Madden game, right? One of those.
Be like Rome
burning.
Well, good point. We have some friends in LA. Just wanted to reach out.
Be careful.
To them.
Who's Trump's buddy?
Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's the kind of guy we need. And I want to see those white people come here to Guam.
Yes.
And tell this government of Guam how to spend their money so us people benefit, not just the politicians. I want to see performance reviews for the government of Guam. And I want to see penalties for where they hurt us, when they deliver us bad water or a bad prison. Or I want things to be perfectly as good as they could be to stop, privatize everything.
Yeah. So in the meantime, there'll be a grassroots effort to try to effectuate the same. But yeah, if we can't do it, there may be a good chance the Doge will do it, and then that's somebody from Washington telling us what to do. I don't want to wait for that, but if you mess around,
it's inevitable.
Yeah, we're using a lot of federal money, and so it comes with that string is that they'll hold you accountable. So better that we do it ourselves, but we're running out of time.
And how lucky are we to have the feds give us, our employees, 10% taxes to waste on this government? I mean, Every state in the union would love to have that.
And Donald
But
Trump,
here we
yeah.
have it, and what do we do with it?